From disaster to prosperity, Saudi Arabians are very excited with their new hiring and the fact that Roberto Mancini has been sacked as the manager of the Saudi Arabian national team. We're going to break it down here on today's video of what this means for Asian World Cup qualifiers. Group C, what does this mean for the Saudi Arabian national team? And we're going to discuss Mancini's disastrous time as the manager of the national team. So Mancini was an unmitigated disaster with Saudi Arabia. There is no two ways about it. Being the highest paid manager in the world, you are expected to find some results. I don't care if you don't win the Asian Cup. At least make it to a semi-final, a quarterfinal. They didn't even make it there. Yes, they lost to South Korea on penalties. Do we remember what he did in that penalty shootout?
ليغادر إلى غرفة الملابس. يغادر روبرتو مانشيني.
Yeah, he did that. That is the most egregious and disrespectful move you can do to a national team, to the players, to the fans, to the media. Mancini didn't care. When he made that move, I knew he didn't care about the national team. He's just there to collect the money and move on. And well, after a year being their manager, he's gone. And maybe he's happy about it. And definitely the fans of the national team are very happy about it because overall, when you look at Mancini's time, he didn't know what his best 11 was. He kept changing over and over again, trying to find some solution. If you actually look through his results, his biggest victories were against Pakistan. 3-0 and 4-0. He lost to Jordan at home. He drew with Indonesia at home, Bahrain at home. Are you kidding me? If you have those sort of results as the Saudi Arabian national team manager, that you're not even getting any sort of results at home against those sides, oh no. Your time is gone. Now, I've discussed this a lot when I do my Asian World Cup qualifiers review. It's not only on Mancini. These players are not good enough either. Salim Al-Dosari, to do his missing penalties. Do you think Roberto Mancini is telling him, hey, miss these penalties, dude? I'm telling you to do that. No. But maybe it was a self-sabotage to get this guy sacked because it's just the results and the performances, they were just not there. The environment just seemed really on edge, and he seemed very on edge in every press conference as well. Like, okay, people would test him and kind of push the button on Mancini like, hey, are you going to get results here? Are you going to change this? And he just seemed like, no, I'm okay. The players got to take some accountability as well. I think it was just all a marriage that should have never started in the first place because Mancini just didn't seem like he wanted the job, and rightfully so. After 18 games in charge, he is sacked. So now what does this mean for Group C in Asian World Cup qualifiers? Well, Saudi Arabia need to start picking up points because this group is getting tough. You got Australia, you got obviously Bahrain, you got Indonesia, and all of a sudden China found some rejuvenation in this group, getting a victory. But the new manager for Saudi Arabia is the dude who will return as the manager. He was there for that iconic victory over Argentina at the World Cup, Herve Renard. And if you've been following this channel for a long time, you guys know I have a love affection with Herve Renard. What he has done in his career as a national team manager, bringing Zambia their first ever AFCON, bringing the golden generation of Ivory Coast their AFCON that they always desire. He brought it. When it's disaster, when it's looking bleak, he is there to solve the problem. And he was great with Saudi Arabia. Obviously, they didn't make it out of the group in the World Cup, but they had the most magical win, arguably in their history, other than making it to the round of 16 in the 1994 World Cup. But everybody was talking about Saudi Arabia. Everybody was talking about the crazy tactics that Herve Renard did in that game. The high line, they were frustrating Argentina. They scored many offside goals. It was a masterclass from Herve Renard. We saw the halftime team talk he had in that game as well, where he really motivated the players.
Take your phone, you can make a picture with him if you want.
And the players came out with a totally different mindset in the second half, and they went on to win an incredible game for them. But Herve Renard, this is the hiring that Saudi Arabia needed. There is no other manager that can go into this job right now, because right now Saudi Arabia needs to pick up points. They need to. This is now a dire situation. It's not the end of their World Cup qualifying campaign, but they got to start picking up points. And hiring this guy is going to solve it. I'm sorry. He might not have the, you could say, greatest tactical philosophy or any of that. But in international management, you need to have good man management. Mancini clearly did not have any of that with this national team. When he took the job as the France women's national team manager, people could understand it. You're going to go coach your national team. You're from your nation. That is the highest honor you can have as a manager. So I think Saudis were okay. Like, hey, take the job and maybe we can return again. Well, we're in 2024, heading into 2025, and right now, they need Renard. They desperately need him, and I'm just happy to see Herve Renard back in international football, on the men's side, of course. So he did a decent job with the women's team for France, but he is just made for this national team. They just need a voice. They need a presence. They need some fire up their asses. Let's be honest here. They need some fire up their asses because these players have looked so flat for the entire year and a half since Mancini was manager. They just look flat. They're like, okay, we'll show up. And I think also the fact that the Saudi players don't get a lot of minutes for their club teams, you know, like Al Hilal, Al Ahly, and all these sort of teams, Al Ittihad, we need to just see some. Maybe Herve Renard is going to push the buttons on the federation and saying, hey, these guys got to start playing. They look like they're not up to the tempo of a football game when they show up for these Asian World Cup qualifiers. Herve Renard ain't going to take no bullshit. He is going to absolutely push the button on the federation, and that's exactly what the Saudi national team need, and this is exactly what every other team in this group, barring Japan, did not want. Indonesia didn't want this. Australia definitely didn't want this. Bahrain, China, this is the last guy you want to see across on the other field. Because he is just that dude, Herve Renard. He's got the swagger, he's got the look, he's got the charming look. You're like, is this guy really a manager? But when he shows up tactically and the speeches he gives, oh no, you're in big trouble. But it's not going to be easy for Herve Renard because currently Saudi Arabia are third place in the World Cup qualifying Group C with only 4 matches played. But their next 4 games is away to Australia, away to Indonesia, at home to China, away to Japan. That is not an easy schedule to begin with. But luckily, the AFC have now more spots to the World Cup guaranteed. So that's at least a good pathway for Saudi Arabia to qualify. But Herve Renard, if you're going to return, and he is obviously officially returning, you're up for a gauntlet. But this is the challenge that he wants, and I think this is the challenge that this national team needs. They've been getting away too easily. Oh, okay, we got 3 home games in the first 4 home games, and we're only going to pick up 2 points? Really? This is the Saudi Arabian national team we're talking about here. Now, okay, they're not the best of national teams right now in the AFC, but they are still a very good side. They have not shown it whatsoever. Not at all. When the going gets tough, Herve Renard steps up. Now, let's see if these players stand. Now we're going to find out, really, in the past year and a half, has it always been Mancini? Or are these players really just not good enough anymore? But I cannot wait. 14th of November at the Melbourne Rectangular Stadium. Okay, interesting name of a stadium. Australia versus Saudi Arabia. Early morning kickoff for me here in Europe. Oh, we are going to get the popcorn, we're going to get the tea and the coffee, and we're going to see what Herve Renard is cooking up with this national team. Do I now think that Saudi Arabia will qualify to the World Cup? I can't back against my dude Herve Renard, so I think they're going to do it. But it's going to be tough, and it's going to be an enjoyable ride. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, people. Herve Renard returning to the Saudi Arabian national team. What would be a grade for Mancini's time at Saudi Arabia? It's got to be an F. It has to be an F. 1 out of 10, 0 out of 10. You gave me a rating in the comments down below. And do you think now Saudi Arabia will qualify to the World Cup thanks to Herve Renard returning? Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Until next time, adios.